The morning sky over New Horizon Colony looked perfect, blue and clear with two small moons still visible near the horizon. Dae-jung sat at his station inside the communications relay, drinking his third cup of coffee. He had been monitoring transmissions for 8 years now, and most days were quiet. Boring, even. He liked boring. Boring meant safe. The relay station sat on top of a hill 3 kilometers from the main colony. From his window, Dae-jung could see the settlement below. 12,000 people lived there. His wife worked in the agriculture section. His daughter attended school near the central square. They had been here for 15 years, watching the colony grow from nothing into a real home. The alarm changed everything. Red lights flashed across every screen. The computer detected something big dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Not one ship, 7 ships, large ones. Dae-jung felt his stomach twist. New Horizon had never received visitors before. They were too far from the main trade routes, too isolated. He called the colony immediately. Bo-ra answered on the first ring. She was the colony administrator, responsible for everything that kept 12,000 people alive on this frontier world. "We see them," Bo-ra said. Her voice was steady, but Dae-jung heard the fear underneath. "Can you identify them?" "No match in the database," Dae-jung replied. His fingers moved across the controls, trying to get better readings. "The signatures are completely unknown. These are not human ships." Silence on the line. Then Bo-ra spoke again. "Send the distress signal." "Send it now. Priority 1, everything you have." Dae-jung was already doing it. His fingers flew across the keyboard, putting together every piece of information the sensors could gather. Ship sizes, energy readings, approach vectors, weapon signatures. He packaged it all into one massive transmission and aimed it at Earth and Alpha Centauri. The signal would take 3 days to reach Earth, traveling faster than light but still not instant. The transmission started. Dae-jung watched the progress bar climb. 10%, 20%. The alien ships were getting closer. They were moving fast, heading straight for the colony. 40%, 50%. The sky outside turned white. The communications relay exploded. Dae-jung had 1 second to understand what was happening. 1 second to see the plasma beam cutting through the building. 1 second to think about his wife and daughter. Then there was nothing. In the colony, Bo-ra watched the hill where the relay station had been. Now there was just smoke and fire. The station was gone. Dae-jung was gone. His whole team was gone. Vaporized in an instant by weapons fired from orbit. She grabbed the emergency communication system. Her voice echoed through every speaker in the colony. "This is Administrator Bo-ra. All personnel evacuate to emergency shelters immediately. This is not a drill. We are under attack. Move now." Taemin was already moving. He was the security chief, former Marine, and he knew exactly what those ships in orbit meant. His security team had 50 people. They carried weapons designed for crowd control and dangerous animals, not military combat. Against warships that could destroy buildings from space, they had nothing, but they could save people. "Team Alpha, coordinate evacuation of the eastern sectors," Taemin ordered into his radio. "Team Beta, western sectors. Team Gamma, get the school children to the nearest shelter. Go, go, go." The sky lit up again. Another plasma beam struck the power generation facility. The explosion was massive, throwing pieces of machinery hundreds of meters into the air. The colony's lights went dark. Emergency power kicked in seconds later, but Taemin knew that facility had housed 30 workers. None of them survived. People ran through the streets. Parents carried children. Neighbors helped the elderly. The security teams directed traffic, keeping the evacuation organized even as more strikes rained down from orbit. The water treatment plant exploded. The manufacturing center turned into a crater. The agricultural complexes burned. Taemin stood at the entrance to Shelter 7, counting people as they rushed past him. 500, 700, 1,000. The shelter was designed to hold 1,200 in an emergency. They were going to exceed that, but better crowded than dead. "Sir, the outer settlements." One of his officers pointed at the horizon. Taemin looked and felt his heart sink. The smaller settlements, scattered across the planet for farming and mining, were too far away. They could see the plasma strikes hitting them one by one. There was no way to reach them in time. 4,000 people lived in those outer settlements. Bo-ra reached the emergency command center. buried 3 levels underground beneath the colony's main administration building. The room was small, crowded with equipment and screens showing feeds from cameras across the colony. Most of the screens were dead now, showing nothing but static. The ones that still worked showed destruction. She pulled up the evacuation status. 8,000 people were in the shelters. The outer settlements were gone. The communications relay was gone. They had no way to call for help, no way to fight back, no way to do anything except hide underground and hope. A transmission came through on one of the emergency channels. It was from Settlement 12, one of the mining outposts 30 kilometers north. The voice was panicked, breaking up with static. They are not just destroying buildings. They are targeting everything. They are killing everyone. The transmission cut off. Another screen went dark. Bo-Ra sat down heavily in the command chair. Around her, the other staff members worked in silence. There was nothing to say. They all understood what was happening. The aliens were not here to communicate or negotiate. They were here to exterminate. They were treating the colony like an infestation, something to be wiped clean from the planet's surface. Taman arrived an hour later after sealing the last shelter. His uniform was covered in dust and ash. He had burns on his hands from helping people out of a collapsed building. He looked at Bo-Ra and she could see the answer on his face before he spoke. 8,000 in the shelters, he reported. The outer settlements are gone. All of them. 4,000 dead, maybe more. Bo-Ra closed her eyes. 4,000 dead in the first hour, probably more as the bombardment continued. The colony she had built for 15 years was being destroyed. The people she had protected, the families she knew by name, were dying. And she could do nothing to stop it. Did Dae-Jung get the signal out? Taman asked quietly. I do not know, Bo-Ra said. They destroyed the relay so fast. Maybe he sent something. Maybe Earth will know what happened here. The ground shook. Another impact, closer this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. The emergency lights flickered but held. Taman sat down next to Bo-Ra. They could hear the impacts above, feel them through the rock and concrete. The bombardment was methodical, systematic. The aliens were taking their time, making sure nothing survived. I served in the Defense Force for 10 years, Taman said. His voice was quiet but steady. I know how Earth military works. They monitor every colony, every single one. They have listening posts everywhere. That distress signal, even if it was cut short, they will have received something. Bo-Ra looked at him. And then what? We are 200 light-years from Earth. By the time they send help, we will all be dead. Taman smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a terrible secret. Help is not what Earth will send, he said. I was there during the resource wars before the unification. I saw what humans do when their people are attacked. Earth will not send help. Earth will send vengeance. Another impact shook the command center. The lights went out completely for 5 seconds before the backup generators kicked in. In that darkness, Bo-Ra thought about what Taman said. She thought about Earth. That beautiful, dangerous world where humanity had learned to survive against impossible odds. She thought about the Defense Force, built to protect human colonies no matter how far away they were. And she thought about the aliens up there in orbit, destroying her colony, killing her people. They thought they were dealing with primitives. They thought humans were weak. They had no idea what they had just started. How long? She asked Taman. How long until Earth responds? Taman thought for a moment. 3 days for the signal to reach Earth. Maybe 2 more days for the fleet to get here if they move fast. 5 days total. We need to survive for 5 days. 5 days in these shelters while the planet burned above them. 5 days hoping the aliens did not find the underground bunkers. 5 days waiting for rescue that might never come. But Bo-Ra was the administrator. These people were her responsibility. She stood up and looked at the screens still showing feeds from the few surviving cameras. The colony was in ruins, but they were still alive. 8,000 people hiding underground waiting. Then we survive for 5 days, she said. And when Earth arrives, these aliens are going to learn why you do not attack human colonies. Above them, the bombardment continued. The aliens thought they had won. They thought they had crushed a primitive colony, eliminated a minor threat. They had no idea that the distress signal, cut short though it was, had made it through. They had no idea that Earth was listening, and they had no idea what was coming for them. In the darkness of the shelter, survivors huddled together. Parents held children. Friends comforted each other. Captain Jiwon was drinking tea when the alert came through. She was stationed at Alpha Centauri, humanity's first colony beyond Earth, now serving as a major military outpost. Her job was intelligence analysis, which meant she spent most of her time looking at sensor data and trying to find patterns in the noise of space. This was not noise, the computer flagged it as Priority 1. That coding was reserved for colony-wide emergencies, attacks, natural disasters, total system failures. Jiwon pulled up the data and felt her blood run cold. The signal came from New Horizon. It was fragmentary, cut off mid-transmission, but there was enough. 7 unknown vessels, energy signatures unlike anything in the database, attack patterns, and then silence. The signal just stopped, like someone had cut the cable. G1 played the last 3 seconds of audio. Daijung's voice, professional and calm despite the situation, reading off technical specifications. Then a burst of static. Then nothing. She forwarded everything to Earth with maximum priority encryption. Then she started analyzing the alien ships. The energy signatures were strange. They used directed energy weapons, very efficient, very precise. Their power systems were fusion-based but more advanced than human designs. Their ships were large, probably carrying significant firepower, but there was something else in the data. Something that made G1 pause. The attack pattern showed the aliens had destroyed the communications relay first, within minutes of arriving. They understood human technology well enough to target it specifically. This was not a random encounter. This was planned. On Earth, the signal reached Geneva at 0347 hours local time. Admiral Hyojin was asleep when her emergency communicator buzzed. She was awake instantly, years of military training overriding any need for slow adjustment. The message on her screen was simple. Priority 1, distress from New Horizon. Council meeting in 30 minutes. The Defense Council met in a secure room deep beneath the headquarters building. Hyojin arrived to find the others already there. General Kyung-soo, head of Strategic Command, Defense Minister Park, Intelligence Chief Choi, and 6 other senior officers who made up Earth's military leadership. They watched the fragmentary signal in silence. 3 seconds of Daejung transmitting data. 3 seconds of a man doing his job, staying calm, sending information that might save lives. 3 seconds, and then the signal terminated. Earth's long-range monitoring confirmed it. The relay station was destroyed, vaporized by an orbital strike. 12,000 people on New Horizon, Defense Minister Park said quietly. 12,000 civilians. We need more information, Intelligence Chief Choi argued. We know nothing about these aliens. Their capabilities, their intentions, their technology. We cannot rush into a military response without understanding the situation. General Kyung-soo shook his head. We understand everything we need to understand. Unknown vessels arrived at a human colony. They destroyed our communications relay within minutes. They did not attempt contact. They did not send warnings. They attacked. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what Kyung-soo meant. The resource wars before Earth unified had taught humanity hard lessons. Show weakness once and everyone will test you. Fail to respond to aggression and you invite more of it. The Earth Defense Force existed for one purpose, to ensure humanity never appeared weak. Admiral Hyojin studied the data on her screen. The alien ships were powerful, yes, but Captain Jiwon's analysis from Alpha Centauri suggested they were not invincible. Their shields were optimized for energy weapons. They relied on precision strikes rather than overwhelming firepower. And most critically, they had made no defensive preparations when attacking the colony. They assumed humans could not fight back. They destroyed a civilian target without provocation, Hyojin said. They targeted our communications specifically, showing they understand our technology. They made no attempt at contact. These are not the actions of explorers or diplomats. These are the actions of conquerors. She looked around the table. New Horizon is 200 light-years from Earth. That colony represents 15 years of work. 12,000 people who trusted us to protect them, and now they are under attack by an unknown force that thinks humans are easy targets. What are you proposing? Defense Minister Park asked. Hyojin pulled up a different screen. Protocol 7, total military mobilization. We deploy the First Fleet immediately. 57 warships, 12,000 Marines. Every piece of military hardware we can get to New Horizon in 5 days or less. General Kyung-soo nodded. The First Fleet is our most powerful battle group. 3 dreadnoughts, 15 heavy cruisers, 39 destroyers and support vessels. If these aliens want to fight, we will give them one they never forget. And if New Horizon is already lost? Intelligence Chief Choi asked. If everyone there is already dead? The silence that followed was heavy. Admiral Hyojin looked at Choi directly. Then we make sure these aliens understand the cost of killing humans. We find their fleet. We destroy it. We track them back to wherever they came from. And we ensure they never attack another human colony again. That is not a rescue mission, Choi said. That is a war. They started the war, General Kyung-soo replied. We are just going to finish it. The vote was unanimous. Protocol 7 was activated for the first time since the Resource Wars. The Earth Defense Force moved to full combat readiness. Every ship in the First Fleet received immediate deployment orders. Crews were recalled from leave. Supply ships loaded ammunition and fuel. The 3 massive dreadnoughts, each 1 kilometer long and carrying enough firepower to level a city, began their launch sequences. Captain Ji-won received a direct communication from Earth 12 hours later. Her analysis was correct. The aliens had technological advantages, but they were not overwhelming. More importantly, their attack pattern revealed arrogance. They assumed the colony was helpless. They were wrong. Ji-won sent a follow-up report. She had been comparing the alien energy signatures to human weapons. The aliens used directed energy beams, efficient and precise. Humans used kinetic weapons, massive projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds. Different philosophies of warfare. The aliens built weapons to disable systems cleanly. Humans built weapons to destroy targets completely. And there was one more thing. The alien shields, from what little data they had, seemed optimized against energy weapons. They probably encountered other species who used similar technology. But kinetic weapons, solid metal moving at 15% of light speed, would hit those shields differently. Maybe very differently. Admiral Hyojin read Ji-won's report aboard the dreadnought Indomitable, the flagship of the First Fleet. Around her, the massive ship hummed with activity. 3,000 crew members preparing for combat, fighters being loaded into launch bays, ammunition being fed into the spinal mount mass driver that ran the entire length of the ship. The mass driver was humanity's answer to space combat. A magnetic accelerator 300 meters long that could launch a 3-ton projectile at 15% of light speed. The kinetic energy from a single shot equaled a small nuclear weapon. The Indomitable carried 20 such projectiles. Each of the other 2 dreadnoughts carried 20 more. General Kyung-soo joined Hyojin on the bridge. He looked out at the fleet assembling in Earth orbit. 57 ships, the largest military force humanity had ever deployed. Do you think any of them survived? He asked quietly. On New Horizon? Hyojin did not answer immediately. She thought about the colony, about the people there. Scientists, engineers, farmers, families, children. The shelters were built deep, she finally said. If they reached the shelters in time, they might have survived the initial bombardment. But if the aliens are still there, still hunting survivors, she did not need to finish the sentence. They both knew what it meant. The fleet is ready, Kyung-soo said. Every ship reports green status. We can depart within the hour. Hyojin nodded. She opened a communication channel to every ship in the fleet. Her voice was broadcast to 57,000 personnel, every man and woman who would be fighting in the coming battle. This is Admiral Hyojin. 3 days ago, unknown hostile forces attacked New Horizon Colony. They destroyed civilian infrastructure. They killed civilians. They did this without warning, without communication, without mercy. 12,000 of our people are out there, either hiding or dead. We are going to find them. We are going to rescue any survivors, and we are going to destroy the force that attacked them. She paused, looking out at the fleet. These aliens made a mistake. They thought humans were weak. They thought we could not respond. They thought wrong. We are from Earth, we are Deathworlders, and we are going to show them what that means. The fleet departed Earth orbit 90 minutes later. 57 ships entered faster than light travel, heading for New Horizon. The journey would take 5 days. 5 days to prepare, 5 days to plan, 5 days to think about the colonists hiding underground, hoping for rescue. Admiral Hyojin recorded one more message before the fleet jumped. It was transmitted on all frequencies, encrypted so only military forces could decode it. The message was simple: help is coming. Hold on. But there was a second message sent simultaneously to every human ship in space, every colony, every outpost. This message was not encrypted. This message was meant to be he. High Counselor Veshitar sat in the Grand Chamber on Valthus Prime, listening to Commander Thulmar's report. The Valtresh homeworld was beautiful, with gentle climate and calm seas. The Valtresh had evolved on this peaceful world, developing civilization through cooperation and careful resource management. War was something they had learned, not something bred into their bones. The human colony has been neutralized, Thulmar said confidently. All major infrastructure destroyed, population scattered. A few survivors remain in underground locations, but they pose no threat. I recommend leaving a monitoring station and moving to the next sector. The High Council murmured approval. This was their 24th successful pacification. The Valtresh Empire had grown steadily, incorporating 23 other species into their civilization. Most had submitted peacefully. A few had resisted and been eliminated. The pattern was always the same. Superior technology and organization defeated primitive resistance. What about the distress signal? One counselor asked. Did it reach other human settlements? Thulmar waved a dismissive hand. It was destroyed before completion. Even if fragments reached other humans, our analysis shows they lack military capacity. The few ships we detected were small cargo vessels and exploration craft. The humans are traders and scientists, not warriors. Beshtar nodded. The Valtresh had studied 23 species before encountering humans. All of them followed similar patterns. Species that developed in stable environments focused on trade and exploration. Only species that evolved under pressure developed strong military traditions. And pressure meant resource scarcity, territorial competition, constant external threats. The Valtresh database classified planets by danger level. Their homeworld was Class 3, meaning some dangerous animals but generally stable conditions. Most spacefaring species came from Class 2 or Class 3 worlds. Anything higher was considered too dangerous for complex civilization to develop. Nobody asked what class Earth was. Nobody thought it mattered. Aboard the dreadnought Indomitable, Lieutenant Yun Seo stood in front of the assembled senior officers. She was the fleet's xenobiology specialist, and Admiral Hye Jin had asked her to brief the command staff on what made humans different from other species. Yun Seo brought up a holographic display of Earth. The planet rotated slowly, blue and white and beautiful from space. How many of you have actually studied Earth's evolutionary history? She asked. A few hands rose. Most officers had grown up learning about Earth in school, but the details faded. Everyone knew Earth was dangerous. Not everyone understood what that meant. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world, Yun Seo continued. For comparison, the Valtresh homeworld is Class 3. Class 12 is the highest rating in the Galactic database. It means Earth has tried to kill humanity in every way possible for millions of years. The display changed, showing various Earth predators. Lions, tigers, bears, crocodiles, sharks, wolves. These are just some of the predators that hunted early humans. Each one is faster, stronger, and better armed than humans. Lions hunt in coordinated packs. Tigers are ambush predators that can kill with a single bite. Bears are massive and aggressive. Crocodiles can hold their breath for hours, waiting for prey. An officer raised her hand. But we survived them. We developed tools and weapons. Exactly, Yun Seo said. We survived them. And that is the point. Every species faces predators. But humans faced predators that were better than us in every way. Faster, stronger, better armed with claws and teeth. And we survived anyway by being smarter, by cooperating, by refusing to quit. The display showed more threats: microscopic organisms, viruses, bacteria. Earth has diseases that evolved specifically to attack human immune systems. Malaria, smallpox, plague. Each one killed millions. Each one forced our biology to adapt. Human immune systems are overbuilt, redundant, constantly active because anything less meant death. Weather patterns appeared next. Hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, Droughts. Earth's climate is unstable. Temperature swings from -50 to +50 Celsius. Storms that generate winds strong enough to destroy buildings. Droughts that last years. Floods that reshape continents. And humans had to survive all of it without modern technology for most of our evolution. General Kyung-soo stood up. Lieutenant Yoon Seo is explaining our evolutionary background. But I want to make sure everyone understands what this means for combat. The Valtresh evolved on a garden world. They developed civilization through cooperation and resource management. They fight wars because they learned strategy and tactics from books. He pointed at the display. Humans developed civilization through violence. We fought predators. We fought diseases. We fought the environment. We fought each other for resources and territory. For millions of years, every single day was a fight for survival. That shaped us. That made us what we are. Admiral Hyojin added her perspective. Every human in this fleet is descended from survivors. Survivors of predators. Survivors of diseases. Survivors of natural disasters. Survivors of other humans. Our bones are denser than other species because they had to be. Our muscles are stronger because anything less meant death. Our pain tolerance is higher because we needed to keep fighting even when injured. Yoon Seo brought up comparative data. The Valtresh have excellent vision and hearing. Their technology is more energy efficient than ours. But they have thin bones that break easily. Low pain tolerance because their world never required them to fight through injuries. Slow healing because infections were rare. They are optimized for their peaceful world. Humans are optimized for Earth, she continued. We can survive injuries that would kill most species. We can adapt to extreme temperatures. We can eat a huge variety of foods because our ancestors had to eat anything available. We can go days without water and weeks without food because our evolution trained us for scarcity. An officer asked the question everyone was thinking. So we are tougher. Does that matter in space combat? Ships fight ships, not bodies. General Kyung-soo smiled. It matters because of how we think. The Valtresh see a damaged ship and retreat to repair. Humans see a damaged ship and keep fighting. The Valtresh calculate risk and avoid unfavorable battles. Humans calculate risk and attack anyway if the objective matters enough. This is not bravery. This is not stupidity. This is how Deathworlders think. We view threats as problems to solve, not reasons to flee. Yoon Seo showed one final comparison. Human technology versus Valtresh technology. They build elegant systems optimized for efficiency. We build redundant systems designed to keep working even when damaged. They use directed energy weapons that disable targets precisely. We use kinetic weapons that destroy targets completely. They design shields to absorb and redirect energy. We design armor to absorb physical impacts. Different philosophies, Admiral Hyojin said. The Valtresh fight wars to expand territory and resources. Humans fight wars to survive. To them, defeating an enemy means making them submit. To us, defeating an enemy means ensuring they can never threaten us again. The briefing ended with a warning from Yoon Seo. The Valtresh have conquered 23 species. They are experienced, organized, and technologically sophisticated. They will not be easy to defeat, but they have never fought Deathworlders. They have never encountered a species that evolved to fight and survive. They attacked New Horizon thinking humans were primitives. That mistake is going to cost them everything. On Valthus Prime, a junior counselor asked High Counselor Veshitar a question. Did we verify what kind of world these humans come from? The database shows varying threat levels for different species' homeworlds. Veshtar dismissed the concern. All organic life develops on similar evolutionary paths. The humans built a colony, which means they have agriculture and industry. They sent distress signals, which means they have communications technology. They are no different from the other species we have encountered. Perhaps slightly more advanced, but nothing our forces cannot handle. The junior counselor nodded and sat back. The question was answered. The concern was addressed. Nobody checked the database. Nobody looked up Earth's classification. Nobody wondered why a species from a Class 12 death world might fight differently than species from garden worlds. Commander, Thulmar remained in orbit around New Horizon. waiting for the monitoring station to be established. His fleet of 7 ships maintained formation, scanning for any survivors trying to escape the planet. The few ships that had tried to leave were destroyed easily. The colony was isolated, cut off, defeated. Sub-Commander Ral Vesh, second in command of the fleet, stood on the bridge looking at the destroyed colony below. Something bothered him about this mission. The humans had kept fighting even when their shields failed, even when their weapons proved ineffective. They fought with small arms, with improvised explosives, with anything they could find. Most species surrendered when defeat became obvious. The humans fought until they were destroyed. "Commander," Ralvesh said carefully, "should we be concerned about the distress signal? If it reached other human settlements," Thulmar cut him off. "We destroyed the relay. Even if fragments reached other humans, what can they do? Send cargo ships to rescue survivors? We will destroy those too. Send military forces? Our analysis shows they have nothing that can threaten us. The humans are defeated. This sector is ours." Ralvesh nodded but said nothing more. He hoped Thulmar was right. He hoped Captain Sangwoo stood on the bridge of his destroyer, watching the sensor displays update. 9 ships in his squadron, heading toward the Valtresh fleet at maximum acceleration. Behind them, 50 minutes away at current speeds, the main battle group followed. Admiral He Jin had given him simple orders: locate the enemy, establish firing solutions, transmit targeting data. He was the advance element, the tip of the spear. His sister had been an engineer on New Horizon. He did not know if she was alive or dead. He did not let himself think about it. Right now he had a job to do. The Valtresh fleet detected them immediately. 7 alien ships larger than his destroyers began moving into defensive formation. Sangwoo watched their patterns. They were good, experienced. They formed a sphere that gave each ship clear firing lanes while minimizing blind spots. Standard military doctrine executed perfectly, but they were positioning for a long-range engagement. They expected the human ships to slow down, to maneuver for advantage, to fight carefully. They did not understand humans at all. "Squadron," Sangwoo ordered over the tactical channel. "Attack pattern Delta 7. Full acceleration. We are going through them, not around them. Fire on my mark." His ships accelerated harder. The destroyers were not built for comfort. They were built to close distance fast and hit hard. The crews felt the pressure as the ships pushed toward 5 gravities of acceleration. Most species could not handle more than 2 gravities. Humans had evolved on a heavy world. 5 gravities was painful but survivable. Commander Thulmar watched the human ships approach. His initial dismissal changed to confusion. They were accelerating directly toward him. No evasive maneuvers. No attempt to find optimal range. They were just charging straight in like animals. "Open fire," he ordered. "Maximum range. Disable their engines." The Valtresh fleet fired. Directed energy beams lanced out across thousands of kilometers. Precise, efficient, designed to disable ships by targeting specific systems. The beam struck the lead human destroyer and its shields flared bright blue, absorbing the energy. The destroyer kept coming. More beams struck it. The shields overloaded and failed. Energy weapons hit the hull directly, burning through armor, vaporizing sections of the outer hull. Atmosphere vented from a dozen breaches. The ship should have broken off, should have retreated to repair. The destroyer accelerated harder. Sub-Commander Ralvesh stared at his screens in disbelief. The human ship was dying. Systems were failing across the board. They were losing atmosphere. One engine was offline, and they were still accelerating toward the fleet. "What are they doing?" he whispered. Sangwoo felt his ship shudder as another energy beam carved through the aft section. Red lights flashed across every panel. Engineering reported 40% power loss. Life support was failing in 3 compartments. His weapons officer was bleeding from a head wound but stayed at her station. 20 seconds to kinetic range. His tactical officer called out. "Squadron, maintain formation." Sangwoo ordered. "All weapons ready. We only get 1 pass. Make it count." 2 more destroyers lost their shields. A third took a direct hit to its main reactor and went dark, drifting forward on momentum alone but still firing its kinetic weapons. The crew was dead, but the ship would complete its attack run even without them. 10 seconds. The human squadron entered kinetic range. 9 destroyers, 3 of them heavily damaged, 2 more with failed shields. They flew through the Valtresh defensive formation at close range, close enough that the aliens could not track them fast enough. "Fire," Sang-woo said quietly. The destroyers opened fire with every weapon they had. Magnetic accelerators launched tungsten carbide projectiles at 15% of light speed. 18 projectiles, each one weighing half a ton, each one carrying kinetic energy equivalent to several tons of high explosive. The Valtresh shields, designed to absorb and redirect energy beams, did nothing against solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. The projectiles went through the shields like they were not there. They punched through armor plating designed to withstand energy weapons. They penetrated deep into ship cores, their kinetic energy converting to heat and shrapnel. The Valtresh flagship exploded, just exploded. One moment it was there, the next it was an expanding cloud of debris and superheated plasma. 2 more cruisers were hit in rapid succession. One lost its entire forward section. The other started venting atmosphere and spinning out of control. Commander Thulmar had 3 seconds to understand what happened. 3 seconds to realize that his entire tactical doctrine was based on fighting species that used energy weapons. 3 seconds to understand that kinetic weapons changed everything. Then a projectile struck his bridge and he understood nothing at all. Sang-woo's destroyer cleared the enemy formation. Behind him, 3 of his ships were destroyed. 2 more were crippled. But they had hit the enemy hard. Very hard. "Target assessment," he ordered. 3 enemy ships destroyed, his tactical officer reported. 2 severely damaged. 2 still combat capable, but their formation is broken. Sang-woo transmitted the data to Admiral Hyejin. The main battle group would arrive in minutes. His job was done. His squadron had broken the enemy formation and transmitted firing solutions. Now it was time for the heavy ships to finish it. Sub-Commander Ralvesh took command of what remained of the Valtresh fleet. 4 ships left. 4 ships out of 7, and 2 of those were badly damaged. The humans had done this with 9 small ships, 3 of which were destroyed. The mathematics made no sense. The humans accepted casualties that should have broken any fleet, and then his sensors detected the rest of the human fleet. 57 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly behind the Valtresh formation. 3 massive dreadnoughts, each one larger than any ship the Valtresh had ever built. 15 heavy cruisers, dozens of destroyers and support vessels. The human advance element had not been an attack. It had been a distraction. Admiral Hyejin watched the tactical display update. The Valtresh fleet was trapped between her dreadnoughts and Sang-woo's damaged squadron. "Perfect position." She opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, you are authorized to fire. Destroy the enemy fleet." The dreadnoughts fired their spinal mount mass drivers. These were not the small magnetic accelerators on the destroyers. These were massive weapons that ran the entire length of each ship. 3-ton projectiles launched at 15% of light speed, carrying the kinetic energy of small nuclear weapons. 6 projectiles, 2 from each dreadnought. 6 relativistic impactors crossing the distance to their targets in seconds. The Valtresh ships tried to evade, but they were too slow, too damaged, too shocked by what was happening. 4 direct hits. 4 more Valtresh ships turned into expanding clouds of debris. The shields did not even slow the projectiles. The armor might as well have been paper. The ships just ceased to exist, converted from matter into energy by the incredible kinetic force. Sub-Commander Ralvesh watched 2 of his remaining ships die. His own ship shook as debris struck the hull. He had seconds to make a decision. Stay and die fighting an enemy that could destroy his entire fleet from beyond his weapons range, or run and live to warn Valthos Prime about what was coming. "All crew, prepare for emergency jump," he ordered. "Engage faster-than-light drive immediately." His ship jumped to hyperspace just as another mass driver projectile passed through the space it had occupied seconds before. The Valtresh 3rd Expeditionary Fleet was gone. 7 ships reduced to 1 in less than 10 minutes of combat. Admiral Hyejin watched the last enemy ship escape. She could have pursued it. The First Fleet had faster-than-light capability, but she chose to let it go. Let it carry the report back to the Valtresh Empire. "Let them know what happened here. All ships, begin search and rescue operations," she ordered. "Recover our people from the damaged destroyers, and send landing parties to the planet. Find the colonists." Captain Sang-woo oversaw the evacuation of his destroyer. The ship was dying, systems failing one by one. But his crew had completed the mission. They had drawn first blood. They had shown the aliens that humans fought differently than anyone they had encountered before. His tactical officer approached him as they waited for rescue. "Sir," she said, her head wound bandaged now, "my sensors recorded everything. The aliens never expected kinetic weapons. Their shields were useless. Their armor was too thin. They built ships to fight energy weapons, not solid matter moving at light speed." Sang-Woo nodded. "They assumed all species fight the same way. They were wrong. Different worlds produce different solutions to the same problems. They came from a garden world and built elegant weapons. We came from a death world and built weapons that work even when everything else fails." On the planet below, Bora received word that the bombardment had stopped. The ground was not shaking anymore. The sensors detected ships landing near the colony. She did not know if they were human or alien ships. She did not know if rescue had arrived or if the aliens were coming to finish them off. Then Taemin burst into the command center, grinning wider than she had ever seen. "They are human ships," he shouted. "Earth Defense Force. Admiral Hyojin is asking for you personally. They came. They actually came." Bora felt tears in her eyes. 8,000 survivors. 4,000 dead. 10 days hiding underground, W. Sub-Commander Ralvesh arrived at Valthus Prime 3 days after escaping New Horizon. His ship limped into orbit, damaged and barely functional. He carried sensor logs that would change everything the Valtresh understood about warfare. The High Council assembled to hear his report. Ralvesh stood in the Grand Chamber, still wearing his damaged uniform, and told them the truth. 7 ships destroyed in 10 minutes. Human weapons that bypassed their shields completely. Tactics that accepted casualties that should have broken any fleet. An enemy that refused to retreat even when dying. High Counselor Veshitar listened in silence. When Ralvesh finished, the chamber was quiet. Then Veshitar spoke. "You are traumatized," he said. "The Third Fleet was inexperienced. You were ambushed by local defense forces that happened to be better armed than expected. This changes nothing." Ralvesh could not believe what he was hearing. "With respect, Counselor, this changes everything. The humans are not fighting defensively. They are hunting our ships across the sector. 14 vessels have gone silent in the past 3 weeks. 14 ships that tried to retreat to safe positions. The humans tracked them down and destroyed them all." The Council murmured. 14 ships was not a small loss. But Veshtar remained confident. "We have 300 warships in the First and Second Imperial fleets. The humans have one populated system. The mathematics favor us. We will mobilize our full military and eliminate this threat." Ralvesh tried one more time. "Counselor, you do not understand. These humans are different. They come from a Class 12 death world. Their entire evolution prepared them for war. They do not fight like us. They do not think like us. We need to negotiate, not fight." Veshtar dismissed the concern. "All organic life follows similar evolutionary paths. Deploy the Imperial fleets. We will advance on Earth itself. When we threaten their homeworld, they will surrender. This is how warfare works." The order went out. 300 Valtresh warships began moving toward human space. The largest military deployment in the Empire's history. Enough firepower to conquer multiple star systems. Veshtar was certain this would end the conflict quickly. He was right about it ending quickly. He was wrong about everything else. Fleet Admiral Insu arrived at New Horizon with the Second and Third Fleets. Combined with the First Fleet already there, humanity now had 150 warships in the sector. He met with Admiral Hyojin aboard the Indomitable to plan their response. "Intelligence reports show the Valtresh are mobilizing everything they have," Insu said. 300 ships heading toward Earth. They think threatening our homeworld will make us surrender." Hyojin smiled coldly. "They still do not understand us. Earth has orbital defenses that could stop 1,000 ships, but more importantly, they are showing us all their military assets at once. Every shipyard, every logistics hub, every command center. They are concentrating their forces, which means they are leaving their infrastructure undefended." Insu nodded. "Exactly. We split our forces. Second Fleet hits their primary shipyards. Third Fleet destroys their logistics hub at Kelvar. First Fleet goes to Valthos Prime. You want to attack their capital," Hyojin said, "while their fleets are heading toward Earth." Insu pulled up a tactical display. "We are not going to destroy it. We are going to demonstrate that we could destroy it, but choose not to. We are going to show them what mercy from Deathworlders looks like, and we are going to make sure they never forget the lesson." The campaign began 2 days later. The Second Fleet arrived at the Valtresh primary shipyards and found them defended by 150 warships. The battle lasted 4 hours. Human ships absorbed damage that would destroy Valtresh vessels and kept fighting. Kinetic weapons punched through shields and armor. Coordinated attacks overwhelmed defensive formations. The Second Fleet lost 18 ships. The Valtresh lost everything. 150 warships destroyed. The shipyards, representing 2 centuries of industrial development, were reduced to expanding clouds of debris. The Valtresh Empire lost half its military construction capacity in a single afternoon. The Third Fleet hit Kelvar 3 days later. Instead of fighting the defending fleet, they destroyed the logistics infrastructure. Fuel depots, supply warehouses, repair facilities, food distribution centers. Within 2 weeks, half the Valtresh Empire was experiencing critical supply shortages. The Valtresh military could not fight without supplies. Ships could not operate without fuel. Crews could not function without food. The Third Fleet demonstrated that humans understood how civilizations worked. You did not need to destroy every ship. You just needed to destroy their ability to sustain military operations. Admiral Hyojin's First Fleet appeared in orbit around Valthos Prime 6 weeks after the battle at New Horizon. The planet's defensive fleet had already departed to attack Earth. The capital was defended only by orbital platforms and ground-based weapons. Hyojin did not attack immediately. Instead, she broadcast a message to the planet on all frequencies. Every Valtresh citizen heard it. Every news service recorded it. Every government official listened. This is Admiral Hyojin of the United Earth Defense Force. Your government attacked our colony. Your military killed our people. Your empire thought we were weak and could not respond. You were wrong. We have destroyed your Third Fleet. We have destroyed your shipyards. We have destroyed your logistics network. And now we are in orbit around your homeworld. She paused, letting that sink in. We could destroy your planet. We could reduce your entire species to memory. Our weapons could turn your oceans to steam and your continents to glass. But we are not going to do that. Do you know why? Because humans do not wage war to exterminate. We wage war to survive. Your government threatened our survival. We have eliminated that threat. Your military is scattered. Your industry is shattered. Your logistics are broken. You can no longer threaten us. So we are going to leave. And you are going to remember that you survive only because we choose to let you. In the High Council chambers, Veshtar watched the human dreadnoughts hold position above his world. He finally understood what Ralvesh had tried to tell him. The humans were not just better warriors. They had spent millions of years learning to defeat enemies that were bigger and stronger than they were. The Valtresh Empire, with all its resources and technology, was just another predator to be hunted. The humans had destroyed the Valtresh ability to wage war and left them alive to remember why. That was a message more powerful than any amount of destruction. That was mercy from a species that could afford to be merciful because they had already won. The First Fleet departed Valthus Prime without firing a shot. As they left, they deployed communications buoys throughout the system. The buoys broadcast a simple message on all frequencies. This world is under human protection. The Valtresh Empire is prohibited from possessing military vessels beyond those required for local system defense. Any attempt to rebuild offensive military capacity will result in immediate and total destruction of all Valtresh military assets. Any attack on human colonies or allies will result in the elimination of the Valtresh Empire. These terms are non-negotiable. Ralvesh read the message and felt relief. The humans had won but shown mercy. His people would survive. They would rebuild. But they would never again be a military power. And honestly, after seeing what Deathworlders could do, he was grateful for that. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Insu delivered his report to the Defense Council. The Valtresh threat is eliminated. Their military is scattered. Their industry is destroyed. Their leadership understands that humanity is not a species to be attacked. More importantly, word is spreading throughout local space. How many species detected our transmissions? Admiral Hyojin asked. 14 confirmed. Probably more. They all heard the messages about what happens when you attack colonies from Earth. They all saw the sensor data, showing human ships absorbing damage and continuing to fight. They all understand now that humans are different. Different how, a council member asked. Insu pulled up comparative data. Most spacefaring species evolved on Class 2 or Class 3 worlds, peaceful environments with limited threats. They develop civilization through cooperation and resource management. They fight wars to expand territory. When they lose, they surrender and negotiate. This is logical behavior for species from garden worlds. He changed the display to show Earth. Humans evolved on a Class 12 death world. Everything on our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. We developed civilization through violence and survival. We fight wars to eliminate threats. When we lose, we regroup and attack again. We do not surrender. We do not negotiate with existential threats. We destroy them completely. So the other species are afraid of us now, the council member said. Some are afraid. Some are impressed. All of them are cautious. Admiral Hyojin added, but that is good. Fear prevents conflict. Respect enables cooperation. The galaxy now knows that attacking human colonies has consequences. They also know that humans keep their word. We said we would destroy the Valtresh military and spare their civilians. We did exactly that. What about diplomatic relations? Another council member asked. Insu smiled. 3 species have already requested formal contact. They want to establish trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. They understand that having Deathworlders as allies is much better than having them as enemies.